Hello, I'm Fiona. I'm part of the pastoral care team at Sunshine Hospital, and I'm putting another video together about mindfulness today. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about using movement for mindfulness practices, especially for people who are living with mental illness. And I think the reason I'm concentrating so much on movement is because those of us who work in pastoral care or in any caring roles with people with mental illness know that we talk about breathing, particularly for anxiety and grounding, breathing exercises, and also we talk about naming and expressing feelings. But I think sometimes when they're the main things that we use, there are times when people can get a little bit lose the grounding to that. So what I've experienced in my roles is if you get into a habit of saying, remember your breathing, or how do you feel now, that they can start sounding a little bit hollow. So really this is just adding a tool to break up those things and maybe help us to rethink about how we re-engage with those things without it starting to sound a little bit trite, let's say. So what I've experienced, particularly with movement, is through doing Tai Chi exercises at Alfred Hospital in a mental health unit there some years ago now. And when I was doing it, what I was really struck by was how quickly and enthusiastically and really easily people in that ward would really engage with what I was doing. They'd just get up and give it a go straight away. Compared to other classes I was doing, normal classes, people were needed much more encouragement. These guys were like, yeah, let's do it. And that was, in itself quite striking. But to me, I also kind of realised it was almost as if they didn't have as much of that kind of self-conscious fear, because let's face it, they've been through so much, and we all know that, when you've really sat with something that's that kind of heavy and deep, get up and do Tai Chi, whatever. I've faced bigger demons than this. So there is that. And one of the kind of biggest compliments that I got when I was doing those sessions was from a lady who said to me at the end, just kind of stopped and said, oh my God, I just realised that I didn't have a single voice in my head the whole time I was doing those exercises. And for me, that itself is worth the gift of doing the exercises, if it's just to provide that space for that time where there's no other voices in your head. So, movement. So what I wanted to do today is have a look at something that I started doing in my last video, and then look at ways that you can just kind of ad lib with that and just make it really easy for you and easy for other people, and to leave kind of spaces where people can kind of make their own connections with how they're feeling and how their body reacts to their feelings. So what I'm going to do is just do a small demonstration again. I'm going to go back here in welcome to my study again. So one of the things we did in the last video was a really simple way of grounding your body in the space, which was feeling the weight of your feet on the ground and moving your weight back and forwards to feel how the weight moves between your toes, ball of your feet and heel. And spend some time doing that, again in silence, just letting that settle, letting your weight settle into your feet. So yes, there might be breathing in that, make it up as you go. Breathing is obviously a great way of including that kind of grounded settledness into this part of the exercise. Then the last exercise I showed in the last video was this one. Now this is a great one just for copying. People just watch you do it and they don't have to get it right. What we used to do, or what I was taught as a Tai Chi instructor, is to observe people quietly, just let them do it. And then now and then, if you can see that someone's kind of getting it back the front, make a comment to the whole group, a kind of generic, kind of like the top hand pushes out, the bottom hand pulls in. Top out, in. Bottom in, top pushes out. In towards the heart, turn, out. So just little kind of things without pointing out corrections individually. And that's what this one's about. It's a really good circulation exercise. Some tips are not getting the shoulders too tense and the elbows up. It's all relaxed, the elbows stay quite low. The thumbs past each other, and it's all centered. You don't have to go into this much detail, but it helps to keep checking in to see how relaxed the shoulders are and doing it that way. And from the side, so there's almost like you're going around a ball. There's a bubble that your hands are moving around, and it's as flowing as possible, as soft and flowing, and it's almost like there's a pump that's helping you. This is the pump that's helping the circulation around your body. So this simple exercise, what I'm actually suggesting is to come back to that, to start with that exercise. Let people just do it in their own space, social distancing. And then this time, when you're actually doing exercises, instead of doing what I demonstrate, make it up, starting with my hand like this, because I am. So just move slowly and let people copy you. Do anything. A good thing to do is try and put rotations into it. Try and put reaching up. It's not often that we do these kind of movements. So the movements that we don't often do, like reaching up and perhaps scooping down. One hand and then perhaps two. Do things that open. Do things that close. Be silly, but perhaps slowly, so that's, you get balance in there as well. And also now and then suddenly do something unexpected or quick. And then stop after a little bit and say, let's go back to this one and give that a go again. Just quietly. And of course you can do that as many times as you like. And then the other thing you can do is, if depending on your group and who's there, if there's people that want to do that together, it can be really powerful. So you have to stand the 2 meters apart, of course, but 2 meters apart, facing each other and simply copying each other's movements. And doing things as, you can say be creative as you can. Do weird, do big, do small, anything. And so that's just very simple, and it can go as long as you like, obviously. And part of that you can then develop on, if you like, is talking about how our feelings relate to how our bodies are moving. So you can ask questions about, were there any of those movements that felt good? Why? Was there any that you just didn't like? And then gently talking about, where do we feel? Asking the question. And in my opinion, don't worry about answers. People can answer in their head if they want to express it, great. But it might just be questions that they can take with them. Like, where do you feel the emotions in your body? If you're feeling angry, where do you feel that? Are there times when your body tells you how you're feeling, when you might not be that aware of it, but then you think, oh, I've got that tightness here? And whether there are movements that help you connect and name what's going on inside you. And my other thing that I really love doing is storytelling. And I think this also offers us as carers and pastoral carers an opportunity to share stories about how our bodies are feeling and how we're feeling. And I would humbly suggest that this is an opportunity where we can show our vulnerability a little bit and express something about our own stories and our own way that our bodies are connecting, particularly with what's going on now. So for me, for instance, I might say, and again, being quite honest, is that I found when I watch YouTube, not YouTube, on Facebook, when there's posts coming up and there's a few people that are always putting up really beautiful, positive, affirming posts, and they always have something about a daily walk that they're doing on the beach or in the hills or in the gardens. You know, they're lovely. And I look at them and think, oh, that's lovely. But when I really sit with it, I feel my body do something like this. Okay, that's a bit of exaggeration, but a real tightening, a real, oh. And so I can talk about, well, what do I think's happening there? And for me, when I really think about what I do when I'm doing this, I'm holding in anger. So even though I'm looking at these images and thinking, oh, that's lovely, there's a part of me, I realise, that's really reacting quite angrily to just this idea of oh, you're doing this wonderful, positive thing every day. You get to see the ocean. You get to see flowers. I don't get to see the ocean. I don't get to see flowers. It actually reminds me of the things that I'm losing out on, that I'm not getting in my life. And again, it's not saying anything negatively about the posts. I think they're beautiful. But of course, we all react to these things differently. And so these are opportunities to say, well, this is what happens in me, in my body. And this is when I realise, actually, I'm not feeling that great. I am angry. Maybe I can, maybe this is a way of naming that anger. Anyway, that's something to play with. I've said it before, my disclaimer is that I'm not a therapist in any sense of the word. Well, maybe a little bit spiritual sense. But, and I'm not a psychologist. These are really things that I've just seen people connect with and work for me. There is a body of information out there on the interwebs about movement and mindfulness and connecting. There's a lot of information about the benefits of Tai Chi for mental health, and it's something that I'd strongly recommend for people from my own experience as a Tai Chi instructor. But otherwise, have fun with it, enjoy. It's good, just as good for you as it is for the people you work with, so it's a very much a shared experience. And I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.